Welcome back to another Jazz basketball game breakdown. It was a fun game.
A lot of positives.
Yeah, it was a lot of. I didn't expect us to come out and kind of punch these guys in the mouth the way we did.
We kind of did that to the Knicks as well when they came in. Some of these East Coast teams showing up into Utah and the Utah nightlife taking it out of them the night before, the elevation,
Something.
socking it to their lungs. One thing that really stood out, and I said it to you a couple of times tonight, is man, we were by far the more physical team, the more aggressive team, and that's usually something that the Nets hang their hat on.
Right.
They're usually feisty and gritty, man.
And you could
We
tell
took it to them.
it was starting to it was bothering a lot of their players. Their
Yeah.
players just started complaining, and
That
it was a really good
stretch
night.
end of the third quarter basically started to put the game out of reach, and they folded.
Yep, 100%.
And we ended up having a lot of defensive stops turn into transition buckets and nice passing where we transition from defense to offensive bucket without a single dribble.
Yeah,
And
we
good
have
old fashioned basketball.
we have very good transition, fast break players,
We do.
athletic players that are successful in the open floor. It's just we haven't utilized it at all this year.
When we have an average of giving up 125 points a game and you don't really get that many defensive rebounds,
Right.
you can't run that much.
And
That's
this is
true.
the best rebounding team in basketball, and we dominated them on the boards.
Yeah, we put it on them. I'm just trying to look. We had 61 rebounds. Doo-doo-doo. Yes, that was the noise I made. To 45. Goodness.
Yeah. Beat the crap out of the best rebound team in the league.
Yep. And in Claxton, who's usually, I would say that both times that Kessler faced him last year, Claxton got the better of him
Yeah.
by a good margin. And it didn't look like that today at all.
No, I was actually afraid of, because of that Kessler wasn't going to start again. I was afraid of that tonight.
Well, now he'll not start next game.
Yeah, had a great game. Don't expect to start.
That's right. At Cleveland, coming off the bench.
Yeah, had 5 blocks tonight
Yeah, he didn't take a single shot
in the last game.
at Sacramento. Tonight, 6 of 8. My goodness, 14 rebounds. How many blocks? 5 blocks.
5 blocks. Very active.
14
And that's the
points.
thing is 5 blocks, but affected how many other shots?
Absolutely. And how many times was he sprinting down the floor and beating Claxton to the spot? Just great overall motor activity. Looked really good. He's dying, which is why I'm trying to
Yeah, sorry guys, trying to get through it.
block all the bad juju.
That's why he looks like an alien over there.
Yeah.
So I will do my best not to cough in the mic.
Sexton and Horton-Tucker both had high scoring games that were efficient, kind of in their own way. When we have games that there's more open court buckets to be had, is where Horton-Tucker usually excels a little bit more. He was hitting a whole bunch of shots. It was just one of those. He's had a couple now in the last 5. What is it? 2 out of the last 5, 2 out of the last 4, where
Something like
he's
that.
actually shot pretty decent, and it hasn't trailed off at the end of the game. And the reason why that's
Which
a
is
worry,
shocking.
the reason why that's a worry is because when Tucker gets hot, he will dribble up and many times, way too many times, take the shot without any other person touching the ball.
And sometimes they will, but it's a pass as he's running to them so he can catch the ball in head of steam and stuff like that. And so like there was a moment in the 4th when he came back in where we had a couple of transition buckets and stuff like that, but he went a little cold for a minute, and the non-transition possessions that we had, he took every shot, and he was like 2 for 5, 1 for 5 in that stretch, and that was his worst stretch of the night shooting wise, and that's the concern, right? All of a sudden he starts to go cold. No one else has touched the ball.
Right. The reason why that's a concern is in those moments, if all of a sudden the shot stops dropping, everybody is standing around. The movement has stopped because he's kind of just taking it, the head down Tucker dribble, and the other team starts to get momentum now, and we're no longer getting the stops on the other side, and all of a sudden we go into an offensive funk, and he shuts down the whole team basically by that is the problem.
And it usually hurts us on the defensive side too, because one, he's an awful defender.
He's gone backwards this year. For sure.
He's taken a giant step backwards. And we talked about it before. His steals numbers don't show that he's a bad defender, but it's because he reaches every time.
Right.
He jumps for things, but he's not a good defender. And a lot of his misses, because he's so out of control and because our whole team's just standing there, we are then all standing there watching Tucker play. He gets a long miss. All of a sudden, they're running. And we're not recovering because of it.
When your point guard without passing is the one that's taking the shot and dribbling to the hole, on a miss, the majority of the time, that's a layup the other end.
Yeah. And so that's why it's hard to care when Tucker has a game like tonight where it's like, oh, he was really efficient, had a really good game. You're right. There's no question. There's no denying offensively. He had an incredible game. One, it's not sustainable. He has proven that for the last 5 years. And two, it doesn't help the other players on the team. The other players on the team aren't getting into any sort of rhythm. And so you're living and dying by Talen Horton-Tucker.
You have to hope that it doesn't tail off in the game at any time. Otherwise, the odds are that your team is going to – the other team's going to go on a run.
What's funny is the difference is like with Clarkson, for example. Clarkson – is somebody, as much as I hate and talk bad on and stuff like that about a lot of things he does seem, it's even if he's shooting terribly, seem to make crazy shots down the stretch. And it's somebody you actually can rely on decently consistent to be able to knock down shots down the stretch. So it's not as concerning when a guy like Clarkson does it because he's shown the ability to make that. Tucker, time and time again, has shown that he will eventually get cold, and it's not good.
Yep, it's we definitely noticed those trends.
Sexton has been blowing me away.
Sexton, so not only does he have the ability to kind of score and push the issue in the open court, but he also does it in half-court sets. The amount of pressure he puts on the rim is insane. We saw a few times tonight where he moved the ball nicely. There have been a few times the last few games where he didn't move it nicely when it needed to happen.
Right.
But overall, he's putting together, once again, it's a body of work. It's not an anomaly. It's not a one-off of
it's not like he's done this 2
efficiently.
games.
I mean, he got to the line how many times tonight?
I think he took 13 free throws. I think he took 13 free throws.
He was 12 of 13 from the line. 3 of 7 from 3.
And the one he missed, he almost got back himself.
That's true. That's true. Amazing. I mean, 27 points. The efficiency's there. The overall decision-making is the best out of our combo guards that we have.
And he does a good job on the defensive end, too. He that high energy continues on the defensive side. Sometimes he makes kind of bonehead plays because of it, but overall, he's usually either an equal or a net positive.
Right.
On the
You'll take that
well.
with everything else that he brings. It's true. Let's see. We mentioned Kessler. Markkanen had a little bit better shooting game. He was only 1 of 5. So, I guess. 1 of 5 from 3. It seems like since his hamstring, he's kind of getting a little bit more steady time. They're running him more than just the 3.5-minute stretches.
Yeah, he can't seem to buy calls right now.
Can't seem to get the calls. Can't seem to get his little fadeaway that he's trying to put in to fall.
You can see his legs aren't quite there for that yet.
Seems like it.
But overall, he's starting to come back, and the guy we kind of are missing. Another guy I want to mention, John Collins, had a really bad first half.
Mm-hmm.
And you could tell he was still sick. He's still sick. I probably have what he has.
Yeah, that's true.
And was feeling bad during the game. But credit to him, hasn't played for how long?
He's been out
Comes
a long
in
time.
and plays a really bad, struggles first half, especially on the defense side. And second half, balled out.
Ended up, hitting three. He said he's 3 of 4 from 3. I don't know how that's possible. I swear I saw him miss 3 3-pointers. I don't know.
They were all 2s.
If it was on the line. But overall, ends up shooting a good percentage. Had a monster block where he blocks it and gathers it.
And immediately kicks it forward to go into transition, where then Agbaji seems to just float on his dunk.
What a transition that was.
That was awesome. Sexton done, Baji dunk. Like that was.
Yep.
That's the type of team we can be.
Yeah, we can overwhelm teams athletically, especially if we have our lineups out there that play defense.
And that lineup right there, that lineup right there was playing really well defensively, and with Collins at the 5, and that's something we've struggled with. Collins at the 5 is a deep rim protecting team, and he did really well tonight in that tonight. So that was good to see because it's something he's been struggling at, and he's been gone forever.
Yeah, one thing I was going to talk about with Collins is, I don't know. I'm still trying to kind of watch a whole bunch of games of him playing. It seems like you winded.
I'm dying. Dude.
You winded.
I'm dying.
You are looking like Collins, where he was all doubled over in the court. Collins, for the most part, unless he was matched up with like Dinwiddie, which is a bad match. It was too quick of a guard. He'll get by him. Usually he plays decent 1v1 defense. Usually.
Yeah.
The part where he struggles a lot is on the screens and navigating the communication and the movement of the picks and the movement on is where he's really the softest. That's something that you can't really improve on in an off season, right?
Yeah.
In an off season, you can improve, your body, work on the physicality, your shooting, your strength, you can get in the weight room. The team concepts at full speed really have to be worked on during the season.
Yeah.
And think about it. How many full games have we had with all of our starters in who we think are the starters to really work on that stuff?
Not a
Zero.
Couple. One. I think we had one.
We had part of the first game,
yeah.
I guess, but that was when our
guards.
No.
I'm saying since they came back, we had like one game when Collins came back and then got sick. Came back from injury, but then got sick.
But I think during that stretch, Kessler was out. I don't even know if we've had one where I think that really all the starters are there.
That's true.
So I think it's something that still is the jury's out. There's no question that he's behind on some of the team concept defense stuff that you actually need in season time to work on.
Right. It's something what I would love to see him work with is Agbaji and Kessler pick and rolls defensively. It's something those two rarely when together, when doing the pick and roll together, rarely is there a misstep on those two. That is those two, their most successful pick and roll defense is when they're being put in it together.
Yeah. If we were to go into the playoffs right now, let's say we made the playoffs, I would be baffled. Playoffs is when teams can really prepare and hunt matchups, right? I don't think we would ever see a time when a team would put Agbaji and Kessler and go after that pick and roll matchup because they are efficient. They fight through the screens when they need to, and they switch back efficiently and they cover their angles. One thing that was very cool to see was Agbaji talking with Collins, after kind of that bad stretch where, you saw he missed a shot and then he had the take foul and he was a little bit frustrated. And Agbaji, who we're hearing is, really talking a lot and a leader among the team.
He was the one, Collins is head down. You can tell he doesn't feel good. You can tell he's beating himself up, and everyone's kind of away from him. Agbaji's the guy who walks over, hey, pick your head up, you're good, and chat with him. And there's several times that you see that, and it's been really cool to see. I'm a huge fan of Agbaji, so being able to see those extra things has been really cool. And Holly Rowe, weirdly enough, gave really good information tonight, talking about how Agbaji has taken kind of Taylor Hendricks under his wing and has been a leader for Hendricks and working with him defensively, and it shows on the court. Tony Jones mentioned that when those two are on the court together, the Jazz consistently get stops, and you can see that those two, similar to the Kessler-Agbaji role, those two communicate really well defensively. They switch really well defensively, and so it's something that has clearly grown in pregame stuff and warm-ups and practice that Agbaji's been working with him so that does continue, which makes sense. Agbaji is a defensive-minded, athletic player. Mm-hmm. Of course, the defensive-minded, athletic rookie is somebody that he's going to look to, and if he truly is a leader on the team, that's somebody he's going to go to and continue to work with and grow. Yep.
I really liked Dunn's minutes out there tonight.
Yeah.
Really disrupting a lot of their guards. With Dinwiddie and Cam Thomas, who is, I think he makes the most contested jumpers in the league, man.
It is wild.
That guy, I don't think he's comfortable unless there's a hand in his face.
He spent some time working out with Kyrie, man.
Yeah. I remember seeing Cam Thomas play in college. He was at LSU and really strong driving to the hoop, but man, that guy makes some contested jumpers. Next game is on the road at the Cavs. Sam Merrill's getting some more time for the
That's
Utah boy.
Utah State.
Yeah, born to raise. He's a bountiful kid. With some of their injuries and stuff, he's been getting more time. And if you watched Summer League, man, he shoot the lights out.
Yeah,
Man. It was
he's an incredible shooter.
Impressive. So that's cool for a local. Hopefully we can get out there and continue.
Even though I talk crap on him when he's standing right next to me.
There's a Sam Merrill story that maybe Cole will share one day.
I may have, after Utah State got beat in I think it was in March Madness.
It was against Washington.
May have up in Logan been like, man, Sam Merrill was awful last night. About 5 seconds later, turn left. Oh, hey, there's Sam Merrill standing right next to me.
True story.
Like, hey, man.
Hey, how's it going? Tough game last night.
Rough, dude. He was watching his girlfriend at the time. In a soccer game.
Yep, she was playing for Utah State at that time.
Yeah. He was really cool about it. Actually, she sat and chatted with him for a while. Dude. So I always, obviously, I root for Utah State guys. We're both big Utah State fans, but after that kind of funny interaction, he's somebody I've always wanted to root for, just because he was super cool about the whole thing too.
He was, he owned it. Yeah, it was rough. Something we got to learn from and get better. He was super.
He was cool.
So hopefully he doesn't shoot too good on the game we play against them, but I'm looking for some more of these signs. The toughness tonight was very inspiring for me as a fan. That's something that we've kind of been a nice guy team sometimes, a little bit naive, and I like to see the toughness and getting after people. And hopefully we can take that on the road as well.
There was a lot of good things that happened tonight. One kind of last thing I wanted to talk about on the negative side, we didn't really hit any of that, is Taylor Hendricks. If Taylor Hendricks is only going to play 5 minutes, send him back to the G League. Let him go get more heavy minutes in the G League. 5 minutes is not developing. Coming out for a little tiny stretch in the first half, and that's all you do besides a minute or two garbage time, that's not good development for a guy who we actually are concerned about his future. And to the bench guy, that's a young guy, late round pick or a couple years into the league, and end of the bench guy, that's fine to have those kind of minutes. You expect to have those guys there. Taylor Hendricks needs development. That's either 20 plus minutes in an NBA game or in the G League where he's playing 30 plus minutes as a starter there. That's if we're going to be playing in 5 minutes a game now that Collins and everyone's back, he should not be on the active roster at the time.
And he didn't drag us down when he was out there, and the game was never in question.
No, 100%.
I would say never in question, but we were strong. We had to hold the game big time down the stretch. Yeah, that's kind of puzzling. Completely agree on that.
It's like, it would be like we call up Bryce Sensabaugh just to bring Sensabaugh in for a couple minutes when he's playing the most minutes in the G League roster. It doesn't make sense. It makes sense for Taylor Hendricks to be here with how well he's played, to be a legitimate 18, 20-minute backup role. But if he's a third rotation guy to give a quick few minute spell, you're not actually getting any sort of flow in a game, so you're not developing in the game, and you're missing out on the opportunity to develop with the G League and get really heavy minutes. And so it's just, both are going to be negative in that sense. So either put him back to the G League until we can make some trades, because they're coming. That's been very talked about. The trades are coming. We are actively shopping several people, and send him to the G League until that happens, so we can come back and get him more heavy minutes, or just put someone on the bench.
Amen.
That was the last thing I wanted to mention.
Amen.
But
more minutes for him against Cleveland.
Yes. Yeah. I would love to see that. I hope we come out. Cleveland is a team that is trying to find themselves right now because they are very injured and very not sure. Future is in question with Donovan Mitchell. There's a lot of questions going on within the Cleveland organization, within the locker room right now. Take advantage of that. You come out and punch them in the mouth like we did tonight against the Nets. That is a team that will crumble under that.
That'll be fun to see. What night is that? When's the game?
Wednesday.
Wednesday, 2 days.
Pretty sure it's Wednesday. take my word on it.
Let's do it.
All right. Thanks, guys.